If you've been thinking about investing in St. Louis, then you're probably thinking, is it really worth it? Is the market really that good? Or is it just another market with a bunch of pitfalls? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the pros and cons of investing in St. Louis rental properties, what to watch out for, and the areas with the most growth potential. Stick around till the end because I'm going to share a tip with you that can save you thousands in unexpected costs. Hey, I'm Ben, your St. Louis real estate ninja. I'm a local investor, agent, and property manager in the St. Louis area. I own over 35 doors in St. Louis. I am here to help you with your real estate needs. I like to make it easy, simple, save you time and money in the St. Louis real estate market. If you want a free 20-minute consultation with me, feel free to text, email, or call me, and I would love to schedule a time with you to talk about your goals. But other than that, let's get to it. So why St. Louis? I wanted to give you a bigger picture of how St. Louis measures up to around the rest of the country. At the time of this video, the average home price in St. Louis County is $260,000 versus the national average, which is about $420,000. That is about 40% less than the national average. So with properties being more affordable in St. Louis, there is more opportunities for cash flow. There is a large tenant pool in St. Louis. This is due to universities, hospitals, major employers, affordable housing, and more. Certain areas have a higher percentage of renters due to these factors as far as employment, being close to work, being in the city, and so on. A lot of employers, universities, and the healthcare industry bring a lot of people from relocation to come into St. Louis to work. A lot of them are renters as well. Missouri is also a more landlord-friendly state compared to most other states. If you are on the coast, usually they're more restrictive, like California, Washington, New York. A lot of those have really strict laws as far as tenant laws. So if tenant-landlord disputes come up, it is a little bit more friendly and it's a more straightforward process to handle disputes with tenants. So there are less squatters. The eviction process in St. Louis is roughly about 3 months rather than 9 months to a year in other states. So that is a plus if you are investing in St. Louis. St. Louis has lower property taxes than most other metros, and that is a plus when you are investing, saving money on taxes. A lot of people don't account for that, but it is a big part of your investing journey. What to watch out for? So a big thing that I see with people investing in St. Louis, especially if you're out of state, is property management challenges. I hear a lot about property managers who don't respond to them, don't communicate with them. The houses sit on the market for a long time. It takes months to fix it. It takes months to get a tenant in there. Challenges like that are very common. So having good property management is very important. Not every property management company will work well with you, and vice versa. So let's think about this. Let's say you have one rental property in St. Louis with this property management company, but they have another client that has 50 doors with them and brings them more revenue. So a lot of times that person will get more attention. Property managers have to deal with a lot of maintenance requests and tenants and contractors, and you're one little person all the way in another state and they don't know you that much. So that's why the communication could fail there sometimes. Especially if a property manager has a lot of units. So when finding a good property manager, you might have to test a few, trial and error. Do they communicate with you? Do you like how you get along with them on the phone? I am also a property manager, so I can see both sides of the coin. Property management can be a lot of work for very little gains. So that's why not a lot of people want to do it. I have just been at it for so long with my own personal properties that I know the process. I'm mentally tough with it. I've just been through it a lot with managing rental properties that I just feel that I can do a good job. And if you have property management needs, feel free to reach out to me. We can talk about it. This is not a sales pitch, but I just believe that I can add value if you needed it. Older homes. St. Louis is a very established city. It's been around for over 250 years. So there are a lot of properties in St. Louis that are over 100 years old. especially in the city. The brick homes in the city, they're very old and they can need significant repairs. So you do find a lot of houses that need work, that need gut rehabs, and just older property that you can fix up. Out in the county, there are a lot more houses that may be built in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So there's still age on those houses as well. All markets have houses that are renovated and rehabbed and look pretty, but since we have so much older infrastructure, there are a lot of homes that can use repair, fix up. When you do that, you build up the house, you build up the value, you build up the rents, you build up the community, you build up the neighborhood, and there are a lot of opportunities there. That can be scary to some people, especially from out of state, but if you're handy, if you have a trusted construction crew, if you are willing to pay for renovations, there can be a lot of opportunities for you to build wealth, equity, and cash flow. You got to be careful with different neighborhoods. There are a lot of rental property areas, and there's some areas that are D-class areas that are super cheap, and still nobody wants to really invest in them because the areas are just very depressed. So you got to be very careful of neighborhood dynamics. There can be a difference from 1 mile this way to 1 mile this way. Be careful of what neighborhood that you choose. A-class is the best expensive homes in the best school districts. D-class is the lowest property values, high crime, and the worst school districts. You want to be in those B and C class neighborhoods. The properties are more affordable, the rents are solid, the neighborhoods are good, the school districts are solid. In St. Louis, usually in that 100 to 400 grand range. Usually those are good investment properties. St. Louis rentals are known for being street by street. So one street can be really good and one street can be really bad the next street over. You do want to have boots on the ground to walk the property, walk the neighborhood, get a feel, get a vibe, get the feel of the neighbors. Having done it for so long, you get a good vibe and a good feel for what neighborhoods are good and solid and what neighborhoods you just don't want to be in. I tend to be more focused on certain zip codes. So if there's a zip code I really like, I usually go pretty deep in them. So there are 3 zip codes in St. Louis where I have over 5 properties each. That way you start to get to know a neighborhood, you start to get to know what's a good deal, what's a good value, what's a good township, and the tenant quality. If you have properties all over the place, it's gonna be a little bit more scattered. You're not gonna know these areas more in depth. If you go deep into one zip code and buy multiple properties there, you're gonna be an expert in that location and people are gonna start to know you. The neighbors might start to know you and you start getting referrals. Tenants start calling you up, people start offering you deals in those areas and you just kind of know, oh, that's a good deal. No, that's a little bit higher for this area. So I encourage you to go deep. Certain areas where the crime is higher, that's gonna affect rental demand. So your vacancy rates can be higher, your property damage can be higher, your property maintenance might be higher. That might cut into your cash flow. So even if you bought a property for super cheap, with all of those expenses, it doesn't make it worth it sometimes. What are some areas that are good for rental properties? Here are some areas I believe are good investments. South City. There are a lot of neighborhoods in South City, and as a rule of thumb, the closer you are to Tower Grove or Forest Park, the better. A neighborhood like Dogtown is really close to the St. Louis Zoo and Forest Park. Those are great areas that a lot of young professionals like to be in. Tower Grove South. Tower Grove South is in walking distance to Tower Grove Park. You are close to Shaw, you are close to the Grand Strip, so that's very desirable for a lot of people in the area. If you are near Hampton Avenue, that's a very good area as well. So Princeton Heights, if you go down towards Carondelet Park, Boulevard Heights, Holly Hills, those are really good areas for South City investments as well. This duplex in Tower Grove sold for $300,000. It needed some work, but let me show you the work. So this kitchen just a little outdated. Carpet right here. Little outdated kitchen, but looks functional. I'm showing you that just because if you put a little elbow grease into it, fix it up a little bit, it can be worth a lot more and more desirable, and there is some upside there. North County, so a lot of people invest in North County for single family homes. That's because you can buy a single family home, usually in that $100,000 to $200,000 range, and make the 1% rule. So the cash flow is really good there. A lot of these neighborhoods are going to be more C class, B class. So you want to know what pockets and what townships to invest in. Florissant is one of the best neighborhoods to invest in North County. There's tons of convenience with lots of shops and strip malls. Also, the school districts are more solid, the neighborhoods are more safe. Hazelwood is a good place. There are a lot of rental properties there. Ferguson is a good place to invest in as well. Some neighborhoods are better than others. There is higher cash flow in Ferguson, but less appreciation than a Florissant or a Hazelwood would be. So you kind of have to know what pockets are good and get boots on the ground there. Spanish Lake is also another good opportunity where the lots are bigger. They are building a huge extension of the St. Louis Zoo in Spanish Lake. They're going to have a safari and it's going to take a while to build, but there's going to be a lot of development and economic growth out that way. But right now, properties are still relatively affordable. So it is good to look for single family homes in the North County area. This is a house we recently bought for $120,000. It didn't have a basement, which probably lowered the price a little bit. But the floors were solid, the paint was solid. A few odds and ends here, but there wasn't really much to do to get it rent ready. This one's renting for $1,400 a month, so a little bit over the 1% rule. And there are a lot of opportunities like this in North County. Less appreciation, but higher cash flow. And then there's Mid-County. I'm talking about Overland, St. Anne's, St. John, U City. There are a lot of single family home investments here as well. School districts are solid. The properties can be in that 100 to 200 grand range as well. Though it is still possible to get that 1% rule here, sometimes you have to be just a little bit under as property values have gone up a little bit and the rents have pulled back a little bit recently. So if you buy a home for $200,000, you might rent it for $1,800 a month. So not quite the 1% rule, but just want to let you know that these areas are still very desirable, good neighborhoods, working class neighborhoods, safe, and in a central location as well. This was another recent one in University City, $115,000. 2-bedroom, 1-bath. This one recently rented for $1,200 a month. How to invest smart. Managing rehab cost. So when you are looking at a property, does it need $20,000, $30,000 worth of work? Or does it only need a few grand to get it rent ready? Knowing what to budget for is very important. So if you have a reserves, that's a great way to minimize risk. Are you willing to put more work into it and wait a little bit longer so you can improve the property and build some equity? If you do rehab it and redo the kitchen and the bathroom, usually that's a higher quality of tenant and more rent. On the other end of the spectrum, are you going for Section 8? I like Section 8 as well, but that's going to be a lower end area. You might have a cheaper property, and that's fine. Section 8 is a great program, but it's going to be a different type of tenant class as well. So screening those tenants, making it presentable to certain tenants, think about the tenants that you want to get in there and appeal to them. What areas do you think have development going by? University City has a lot of development going on with a new Costco and Chick-fil-A being built right there. So more development there could mean more appreciation and a better tenant class coming in as well. Think about what areas are growing. Location, location, location. We all know that saying in real estate. That is the golden rule. And if your location is more walkable to Forest Park, walkable to Tower Grove, walkable to a strip or certain areas, that's great. Even if you are a 5-minute drive, that's usually pretty desirable to certain attractions. So is that area near a certain employer, a certain school, a certain center? Is it really near there? Usually that's going to be a boost for you if you are in the right location. Service. Are you communicative with your tenants and contractors? Are you able to get to maintenance requests quick? Do you talk to your tenants like a real person, or do you just kind of don't communicate and never get back to them? Paying your contractors on time, dealing with maintenance requests quickly and with good service. Are you doing that? Or do you just let things go? You don't want to put money into anything. You don't call your tenants back. That is a big part of if you will succeed in St. Louis real estate. So there it is. Is St. Louis really worth it for you? We went over St. Louis, the downsides, where to invest, and some tips for success. If you are serious about investing in St. Louis real estate, want an agent who's been there and done that for you, let's connect. I also offer property management services and try to make your investment truly passive. Feel free to email, text, or call me if you want to discuss your real estate needs in St. Louis. I also have another video here about the whole buying process of rental properties in St. Louis. I think there's a lot of value in this video as well, so please check it out if you get the time. But other than that, I'll see you on the next one.